What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics Show and the first Victory Tuesday Phaithful Phanatics Show of the 2021 season for our Philadelphia Eagles, as the Eagles go down to Atlanta and give a thumping to the other bird, the Falcons, 32-6. Eagles victory, 1-0, the only team in the NFC East to walk away this weekend with a W. I am your host, Dylan Davis. You can give me a follow on Twitter at DylanJD98. And as always, my co-host here on the Phaithful Phanatics, Matt McGinty. Give him a follow on Twitter at Matt_McGinty. And as always, the Phaithful Phanatics Show is brought to you by DSM Media. So if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button on Twitter at DSM_media. And give us a follow and share it out wherever you guys follow or get your social media and sports content. Gint, first of all, how was your weekend, bud? How was your first NFL Sunday back in the swing of things? And how are you feeling after an Eagles thrashing on Sunday?
It was nice, man. Obviously, nice to have football back. Nice that the Eagles won. My survivor pick hit. I took the Niners, which a lot of people took. Fantasy was one of the most brutal weeks of fantasy in my abysmal career.
4-0 for your boy over the weekend in fantasy.
I went 1-6.
Wow. First of all, you're in 7 leagues. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I went 1-6, and 5 of those 6 losses were inside 5 points. So
that is a rough weekend. How was your betting weekend? Was that any better?
Yeah, actually betting, especially the Sunday night game. Sunday night I put together a parlay. I had Woods get in the end zone, Henderson get in the end zone, and Montgomery get in the end zone. And that hit pretty well.
Yeah.
I had Stafford going over and throwing yards. That hit, obviously, which we'll get into them. They looked unbelievable.
Love that fit. I've been saying that for a while. Yeah. I had a good Saturday on college football and a bad Sunday. And an okay Monday. So here, basically, before we get in and break down this Eagles-Falcons game, my betting weekend went a little bit like this. 3-leg parlay on Sunday afternoon that consisted of Pittsburgh plus 6.5, steal. Niners minus 5.5, alt spread, steal. And then the Minnesota Vikings giving 3 to Cincinnati, fumbling the ball away in overtime with 2 minutes left on Cincinnati's like 38. That ruined that little parlay for me. And then last night I hit a baseball parlay game, but then I had a same game parlay in the Ravens Raiders game. I had Henry Ruggs over 24.5 yards, hit like late in the game. Over 43.5 alt points. Tyson Williams under 85 rushing yards, and Derek Carr under 329.5 passing yards that he went over in the final 37 seconds of the game. Really put a damper on my night.
No, what really put a damper on football for me was I was going to win in 2 leagues. And then Derek Carr decided the only person that was getting the ball last night was Darren Waller, who had a game for the ages.
Not to mention Darren Waller had like 19 drops. He was targeted on every other throw.
When his touchdown happened, and I turned off the game immediately after I was so mad about fantasy, he was targeted 17 times.
I think he was targeted more than that afterwards too, obviously. But yeah, man, let's break down this Eagles-Falcons game. That's what everyone here wants to hear about, and that's what we want to talk about the most, obviously. So the Eagles, like I said, take down the Falcons 32-6, not allowing Atlanta to get in the end zone. Again, I don't know if any Eagles fan, and I know you and I did, I know no one on Team DSM foresaw the Falcons not scoring a touchdown on Sunday afternoon. The Eagles defense was spectacular, and obviously we'll get into that in a minute. But first and foremost, let's start with the young quarterback himself. How can you not be impressed with Jalen Hurts' performance on Sunday afternoon? Look, man, I've been skeptical of the fit and the kid. You have as well. We just need to see more. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but I need to see more. And Sunday afternoon was a great first step in the right direction for myself to trust and be hopeful and have faith in Jalen Hurts being the franchise guy and leading this team. He was 27 of 35 passing. That's one knock on him from the end of last year and in college was accuracy. He's never going to be a high completion percentage passer, right? 27 of 35, getting 264 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers, a 126.4 quarterback rating, and 7 carries for 62 yards on the ground. Those are the numbers. But what did your eyes tell you from Jalen Hurts on Sunday again?
Hey, you alluded to it well. He looked poised. And, I mean, I've been trolling about this guy since the end of last season, calling him a fullback. But, man, he looked really good. I'm not going to lie
It's a
to you.
joke, guys. Don't worry. We're not being serious.
No, he looked really good and better than I thought he was. I thought he was going to look good against Atlanta. We talked about how bad Atlanta's pass defense was, and I don't mean to be a Demi Downer when I say that, but and we talked about how bad they were. They were the worst in the NFL last year, pass defense. So I expected him to look good, but to look that good is not fair. And he was lights out, 27 to 35, like you said. Pretty sure it's the highest QB rating since Nick Foles in the NFC Championship game against Minnesota.
I think I did hear that as well.
I mean, like you said, the kid was awesome, and he deserves every bit of credit that he's getting. So
All right, I mean, let's just continue to break it down, right? You said it. He was poised, right? That's something we were looking for. Would he leave the pocket too early, not let routes and plays develop because he just, wanted to rely on his legs too much and not be a pocket passer? He didn't, dude. I can maybe think of one play where he may have left the pocket too early or, read the pocket wrong and escaped it the wrong way. And that was the first 4th and down play, not the Kenny G 4th and 2 run. The first 4th down attempt that was not converted. He escaped to the right, and I think it was Grady Jack or whatever. Pressured him to the sideline. He had to throw the ball out of bounds. That was the one mistake he might have made leaving the pocket yesterday. He utilized his legs in the right moments. And it was awesome to watch. The offensive line also played really well outside of the mental errors and the penalties and everything like that. But I want to continue to talk about his accuracy. 27 of 35. It's something that I don't think many people at all foresaw coming into Sunday. And listen, this is going to sound really corny, but even his short ball accuracy was crisp. Dude, it doesn't sound like a lot. You watch a bubble screen, you watch a tight end screen be set up or whatever, and he's just got to get the ball there, 5 yards, whatever it is. But a bubble screen is only perfectly executed, like the Jalen Reagor touchdown, like a couple of the Quez Watkins passes on the first drive, are only executed if the ball is leading the receiver to the spot in motion to get while he's in his route. He did that every time. There was no throw behind him, low, high, making him stop and come back to the ball. Everything was in motion that led to the big-time chunk plays in the screen game. Now, they didn't take any shots down the field. That's something that I thought they would have to do, something I was looking forward to seeing. Does that development, progress for Jalen Hurts as a passer? We didn't see that yet, but ultimately the game really didn't call for that. Nick Sirriani alluded to it after the game. Jalen Hurts took what Atlanta gave him. He didn't try to force anything. That was another major thing for me. Did he really force a throw?
No, and that was what I was going to bring up, actually, because you brought up the short ball and how it looked on the dot. And, I mean, that's just 27 to 35. That's going to happen if it's which, again, this isn't a shot on, but stuff looked easy. Right. You look at the first possession of the game, like when they threw a screen at Quez Watkins, 10 yards, ran the same exact play to the other side of the field for another whatever yards. Just the coaching staff did such a good job of making his life easy, which in the past has not happened.
Yeah, he did, man. Nick Sirriani and that coaching staff definitely made life easy for Jalen Hurts and played to his strengths and played to these young wide receiver strengths in week 1. And we'll get into all that in just a minute. The last thing on Jalen Hurts that I have to say is, again, I was talking about his mistakes. He left the pocket maybe the wrong direction one time. And he missed one throw, if I'm being completely honest. It was the Zach Ertz throw down the sideline. He threw it short. Not even sure Zach Ertz caught that ball, but they called it a completion, landed in challenge, whatever. That was it. That was freaking it, dude. So this kid was as damn near perfect as you could have asked for on Sunday, albeit against probably the worst pass defense in football, or one of them again this year. But it doesn't matter. You play who's in front of you. And that's what good quarterbacks and good teams do. You don't play down to your competition. That was my next takeaway, again. I haven't seen this in about 2 years from an Eagles team. Not play down to their competition. Now, we didn't know what to expect. Was Atlanta better than the Eagles coming in week 1? Or are the Eagles going to win 5 games this year? We don't know. So it's hard to say that this team could play down to anyone, because how many teams are really above them right now? But they didn't. They went in there. They took care of business. They did everything correct outside of the first 2 possessions on defense. So that was one quick minor thing I wanted to throw out there with their mentality is they went in there, they handled their business. They didn't play down to the Atlanta Falcons, and they gave them a thumping at home. And I guess that's where we can transition to Nick Sirianni. Oh, wait, one more thing. You talked about the first possession and we talked about the screens to Quez Watkins to get Jalen Hurts into a rhythm. Could the first possession of the 2021 Eagles have gone any more, perfect than an 18-yard, greatly designed play and route for Devonta Smith in the end zone?
No,
I mean, talk about exciting, dude.
Yeah, like couldn't have written it up any better.
No, you popped the bottle of the champagne to start this 2021 season perfectly there. And I believe it was Zach Ertz that set up that play with that block and that design play. But yeah, Devonta Smith, 6 for 71, a tutty. Jalen Reagor, 6 for 48, a touchdown. Quez Watkins had the 3 catches on the opening drive. I don't know if he even caught or was targeted again in the rest of the game. But he came up pretty big on that first drive that ultimately led to 7 points. Devonta Smith, before I do get into Nick Sirianni, I want to talk about him again. I know you're excited to talk about him, I'm sure. As advertised, dude, in week 1, no big plays from the kid, but 6 catches, 71 yards. Obviously got open in the end zone for that touchdown. And then the one possession, I want to say it was the second scoring drive, the Gainwell touchdown, I think. Dude, or the Goddard touchdown, I forget. He had like 3 or 4 straight receptions in a row that picked up about 50 or so yards for this Eagles offense. He just finds way. He's just open. He just gets open. He finds a way to create separation on his own. He's a great route runner already. Did you see that video today of him? I forget what the word or phrase he used, but identifying pre-snap whatever was going on, and then got in contact with Jalen Hurts and came up with a big time block on the outside.
I didn't see that, but that's pretty
game 1, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
But yeah, as advertised, if you have any other comments on Devonta Smith, the dude just gets open. He's going to make himself available for Jalen Hurts, and that's a big thing for their chemistry early on.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Those two seem to have a very good connection, to say the least. But my buddy hit me up right before the game. He's like, "Yo, take Devonta Smith first touchdown. I just have this feeling. Take it. Didn't take it. What do you know? Touchdown." So, but man, it's so exciting to have a guy like that. That's like, he's got superstar potential in a skill position, which we haven't seen in a little while, and it's awesome to see. Like you said, he's open. It's almost like when Patrick Mahomes quoted in the media the other day, he's like, "Tyreek Hill is down there somewhere. He'll catch it."
Yeah.
It's almost like that feeling. It's like he's going to be open. Plan D is going to be, even though he's plan A, but plan D is eventually going to be open. So it's such a good feeling to have Devonta Smith, man.
I'm excited, dude. I can't stop saying enough good things about this when Jalen Hurts was spectacular. Devonta Smith was spectacular. Jalen Reagor wasn't a huge factor, but still caught 6 balls and that screen touchdown to really, I mean, the game was over at that point, but to really bury the Atlanta Falcons late in the fourth quarter there, and obviously showed his explosiveness and speed on that screen too. Obviously, first time in Eagles history that 2 rookies have scored in their debuts as Eagles. Obviously, we talked about Devonta Smith's touchdown. Your boy, Kenny G, finds himself in the end zone. He played a lot, dude. He was much better in pass protection than I could have ever imagined. He played a majority of that 2-minute drill at the end of the first half, not Miles Sanders. So what are your thoughts on Kenny Gainwell's debut, Gint? And also, how about the fact that Boston Scott didn't touch the field?
Well, yeah, that was going to be my biggest takeaway of Kenny G's games. He's clearly RB2.
Yeah, he already leapfrogged.
That's not even up for debate at this point. But, I mean, he got in the end zone. It was very nice. And like you said, pass block, he looked better than you thought. You talked about how small – I mean, not you. Everyone's talking about how small he is. And if he wasn't that small, he'd probably have been a higher pick. But I don't mind Kenny G. To hit a little bit of a negative point, I do think the Eagles need to get some sort of power back as a third down option, even like you saw in the 4th and 2. They need something else, but like you said, I mean, there was not much to complain about week 1, and Kenny Gainwell is definitely not something that you could complain about in any way.
No, he's not a complaint. You could just say they're possibly missing something when the opponents get
He
tougher.
might be getting forced into something that, like you saw, 4th and 2, like you'd love to not have to plug Kenny Gainwell in.
Yeah. Anything else on offense you want to get to? How did you? I think Miles Sanders had great burst.
Yeah.
I think he picked it. I think he read the holes in line pretty well.
Some of the plays that the offensive line was making were ridiculous. Like obviously you
Jason
saw
Kelce,
the Mailata block. Yeah, Jason Kelce going down the field, shoving 12 people out of his way. I thought he was going to shove their coach after. But dude, the offensive line. Because I had talked about when we were talking about keys of the game. I said the offensive line just needs to control and give Jalen Hurts some time to settle in. And
they did.
Boy, did they! And they looked great. And
yeah.
Mailata's block. It was ridiculous, dude.
That play stuck out, and the Brandon Graham hit on the first or second possession that running back, I think it was a run play. Was it Mike Davis or Patterson? He stopped in his tracks, bro. Like there was no forward momentum after that hit. He was running full speed downhill, boom, sent backwards. That was one of the hardest hits I've ever seen Brandon Graham lay. It was big time, and we'll get to that. We'll get to the defensive side of the ball in just a few minutes. Yeah, man, and that's it. Goddard obviously scored. He found the end zone. Great extended play by Hurts. Great throw. Again, was it a catch? Who the hell knows? Atlanta might want to rethink their all black end zone there because there was no way in hell to overturn that. Obviously, Zach Ertz battled a little bit of a hamstring issue, but he made some plays out there for the Eagles as well. So it's always good to have Zach Ertz back.
I was going to bring up, because we also brought up a couple times the 2 tight end thing. Dude, they looked good. They both, I think they caught like a combined like seven balls, maybe 8 balls, and probably for about 80 yards or something. But the 2 tight end thing looked good. It was almost like we brought up, it was almost like a safety blanket. Obviously, Goddard got in the end zone. Ertz had a ball that we don't really know if he caught, but again, who knows? But no complaints as I stated earlier.
And of course, before we move on, gotta shout out the leading pass blocker, wide receiving blocker rated by Pro Football Focus this week. Your boy J-Jaw, literally more blocks than receptions, and I know that people want to praise him for that, and it's an important part of the game. But guess what, bud? If you're out there as a wide receiver, better find yourself some targets. like it's good that you can block, bro, but do something else as a wide receiver on this team. I know he played limited snaps, but he was out there a decent amount of the first half, dude. Yeah. Not so much in the second half. The first half, I feel like I saw 19 out there 22 times.
What's also interesting is I'm pretty sure Quez Watkins over-under for yards was 24.5. And he got 23 on the first possession, didn't get another yard.
I would have been heartbroken if I would have.
I'm pretty sure it was like a boost on one of the betting sites I saw today.
I would have been heartbroken. It was a little odd that he was kind of, exiled from the playbook, if that's what you want to call it, or the game plan after that opening drive. I don't even remember Hurts looking his way again, if I'm being honest. And then, of course, Greg Ward was a non-factor. I don't think he was targeted or had a catch. But anyway, dude, moving on to that game plan, Nick Sirriani, Gint, what are your initial thoughts and takeaways from the first-time play caller's debut?
If I had to grade it, he probably gets an A, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it's the phrase I'm used the whole time is no complaints. But, and again, I don't mean to be this guy because I haven't talked highly of the Eagles, but we're going to get into a stretch here of these next 5 or so games
for sure,
where you might get hit with a reality check here and there, but as of now, for a first-game head coach, there's nothing wrong with what happened on Sunday.
No. My biggest thing is this is what I have here. He had control. Again, it felt like he was in control the entire time. He called a really good game. Some of the bubble screen, the Devonta Smith, draw up touchdown, the use of the RPO, the playing to Jalen Hurts' strengths, dialing up plays for these wide receivers and Jalen Hurts that they're successful with was incredible. Obviously scoring 32 points, I don't care who it's against, is nice. Even in the middle of this game when this offense, I felt like for a couple possessions in a row in the middle of the game, the offense stalled a little bit. Undisciplined penalties kind of held it up. I felt like they crossed the 50-yard line a bunch of times, and next thing you know, false start, holding, false start. Next thing you know, we're punting the ball away. I like his aggressiveness on fourth down. Didn't love the second play call on fourth down. I didn't love Kenny G on a delayed handoff out of the shotgun up the middle into the strength of that weak Atlanta defense on a 4th and long too. But outside of that, no complaints. I thought he had control. He called a great game for being a first-time play caller and head coach. And the last thing I can say that I watched in his post-game press conference and his press conference yesterday, again, I cracked some jokes early in his tenure as the Eagles head coach. I didn't love the cliches. I didn't love the high school-esque, mantras and what he would say in press conferences. I wasn't saying he would be a bad coach because of those things, but I didn't love how he was coming off his first. I know could have been nerves, everything like that. The dude's impressing the hell out of me. And the biggest thing is I think his message is getting through to the entire locker room. That dog mentality, that fight mentality, that it was round 1. We're on round 2. I'm assuming you saw the video of them celebrating and then his speech in the locker room.
Yeah.
It was awesome, dude. And I just feel, and again, everything feels and seems and looks great from the outside after a win. Who knows if this keeps up, if they lose 4 straight, but it's getting through right now, and it relayed onto the field. They looked prepared. They looked ready. And that was that. I thought Nick Sirriani was absolutely fantastic, along with Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, and the rest of this offense in week 1. What's going on, buddy?
Also, just kind of getting into this next 4 or 5 game stretch that does not look too friendly in terms of the schedule. I don't want to say you don't have to win, because you always want to win.
But how tough the schedule is after?
Exactly. And is that message still going through after just say 5 losses? And that's not saying the Eagles are going to lose 5 straight. I don't think the Eagles are going to lose 5 straight. But if you lose 5 straight, how does that locker room look? Does the finger start getting pointed around? Is the message not really there? Do you start to see a divide? But the message looks so clear to the point right now where I don't see that even being a possibility, like you said.
No, and it's also, again, it's not just the young guys. It's not Jalen Reagor. It's not Miles Sanders picking it up. It's Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox. They're displaying and putting out the message that he's giving to them as well. Apparently, Saturday night before the game, we don't know. No one's heard of it. But he gave, apparent from players and people that were there, he gave one of the most impressive, night before speeches before a game ever. And it was awesome and fired up. And that's just, it's awesome, dude. It's awesome to see from the jump. It was awesome to see this. So many questions right before week 1 of this offense and the lack of preseason reps and snaps and game snaps. 32 points, dude. And he did exactly what was working. He didn't force anything, as neither did Jalen Hurts. No complaints. Let's move to the other side of the ball, Gint. This is where I think lack of preseason snaps played a role for 2 series. I think the lack of, game reps for this defense showed in the first 2 series. They got the ball pounded down their throats in the run game by Mike Davis and Cordarrelle Patterson on the first 2 drives, but they bended, but they did not break, only allowing 2 field goals on the first 2 possessions. And then after that, again, it was over. Atlanta didn't threaten again. No big plays, no chunk plays. The run was shut down. I mean, dude, I saw this. I know people were freaking out about the run, but where is it? Yeah, obviously they got gashed in the first quarter, but after the first quarter, the Eagles defense they only allowed 1 run longer than 5 yards and held Atlanta to 2.8 yards per carry. They tightened things up. They were dominant. Javon Hargrave was dominant. Brandon Graham's pressure was felt. The corners, Darius Slay looked awesome. Darius Slay, Avonte Maddox, and Steve Nelson all ranked in the top 20 in Pro Football Focus's cornerbacks in week 1. Ant Harris looked good. And they didn't let a tight end kill them. Kyle Pitts was damn near a non-factor in that game. Ridley was really a non-factor in that game. This defense was spectacular, dude. 6 points? I never ever could have thought about. I never ever could have imagined that heading in to Atlanta, that this defense wouldn't allow them to get in the damn end zone.
Yeah, defense obviously gets an A+. 6 points is not what I saw coming, especially like you said after the first drive. Calvin Ridley looked really good in the first drive.
Yeah.
We had talked all week about number one on the scouting report. The only guy you can't let beat you was Calvin Ridley, and I was like, but like you said, after that, non-factor. And number two is Kyle Pitts, who looked like a rookie, which a lot of people didn't think he'd look like a rookie because of how big of or how generational he is in terms of prospect ranking and stuff. But I guess I'm going to start with the front four. Like you said, the amount of pressure. They looked brutal for Atlanta's offensive line, especially, dude, the amount of trolls that the one offensive lineman on Atlanta is getting because he tweeted, if you don't wear your quarterback, draft me. And then the picture of Matt Ryan laying there dead, he's the only one in it, was a meme that's going to age for a little bit.
Oh, well, Scott Willie for us has a great graphic that DSM put out.
Yeah,
some more coming.
It was great. Dude, the defense gets an A+. We had Hembo in here, and he talked about how elite this defense can be if they're able to play man coverage, and they looked, I don't want to say elite. Well, I guess you can say elite. 6 points. That's all I have to really say about it, man.
For sure, dude, because here's the thing. The offense, while we're excited and optimistic now, more optimistic now for this offense, they played a very, very bad, maybe worse than the entire NFL defense. While Atlanta's offense isn't, fantastic, not top 5 in the league, Matt Ryan can still sling the ball. Mike Davis is a good running back, and Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts are two really good pass-catching tight ends and receivers at their positions. Calvin Ridley's a top 10 wide receiver in this league, and Kyle Pitts was this phenom freak athlete pick that in years past probably would have tortured the Eagles in week 1 from the jump, and they just didn't. So the offense, you can temper emotions a little bit because you need to see it against a better competition. The defense played a pretty good NFL offense this week and held them out of the end zone. So, again, A+ for the defense, A+ for the offense, A+ for the game plan, the coaching staff, Nick Sirriani, everybody. I have no complaints, dude. It was amazing. You want to talk, dude? All we kept saying was we were so excited leading into the season now and the weeks leading into it because it was new, a breath of fresh air, something different. Get that bad taste out of our mouth from last year. You want to talk about cleaning out a bad taste? You go on the road and thump a team in week 1 when everything's new to this young offense. First time play caller, first time head coach, first time quarterback starting a regular season. And they handled freaking business.
Yeah, the regime looks energized. They look like they have expectations that a lot of people don't have for them, if that makes sense.
I'll tell you what, dude. If Zach Ertz, if the rumors are and what he says is true, and they repaired that relationship, now maybe they just repaired it for the time being, and they are still going to move them or whatever. But if they truly, sincerely repaired it, I think that Ghost is a testament to what you're saying. This regime, this culture, this locker room is totally new and refreshed. And maybe he noticed that. Maybe they were able to settle things down, and that bad taste is out of the players that were here last year's mouth. Yeah,
exactly. I don't really know what to compare these guys to. I'm trying to think of a comparison.
I got nothing, bro. I got nothing.
In terms of youth, and it's like they don't want to go through a growing stage. It's like we can put some things together right now. We don't need a growing stage, which is awesome to see. A lot of these guys have some chips on their shoulder, and Sunday was round 1, like they said, and it looked really good.
I love that. I freaking love that. That's one thing that I love that has come out of Nick Sirianni's mouth. Is that type of mentality? Is that cliche? It is a cliche, but I love, round 1's over. We'll celebrate it for 24 hours. We're on the round 2, because if you continue to celebrate round 1 for that win in round 1 too long, you're going to get knocked out in round 2. And that's something they don't want to do, and I don't want to see happen. Get 2 questions to take away from Sunday's win against the Falcons, going into the future. I think I know where you're going to go with this. But did this win change your outlook on this Eagles team? Do you feel more obviously you feel more confident and more excited, But does it change your maybe win total? Do you see them winning maybe 2 more games this year because of how they impressed in week 1? Or is it just, let's see it versus San Fran?
Well, I'll tell you, it definitely increases by 1, essentially, because I didn't think they were going to win that game.
Okay, all right.
And they obviously, but I mean, to anyone that had any doubts like I did going into the season, something had to change. Like opinions have to change. They look that good on Sunday. Now, if week 2 comes around and you look the opposite of what you looked like week 1, then maybe thoughts reset. But for now, yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the schedule again and maybe draw up a new prediction on wins. But dude, like you said, I'm so not worried about the win column currently. Like this is just fun to watch. Sunday was
having fun, dude.
After a whole calendar year of not fun football, it felt really cool to like watch the game and be like, wow, they're having
literally a calendar year. It's not like the first half against Washington in week 1 was fun last year. Yeah. Everything else that ensued was not fun.
The dances after the sack, like
the kicking the door down.
Dude, Jalen Reagor and Devonta Smith's handshake. I was like, all right, this is cool, man.
What were your thoughts? What would you grade Sirianni and Jalen Hurts handshake that he came up with his Sirianni son?
Dude, it's just cool. I'll give that whatever, but I'll tell you what I was really impressed by. J-Jaw had a tackle on Sunday. That was cool.
Did he?
Yeah, he had 1 tackle.
On what, special teams?
Yeah, he had to have. It wasn't a turnover. That's for darn sure. But so yeah, my expectations, I'm not going to say change, but
you're more confident.
I could definitely say a little bit more confident.
All right. Might have changed. Not just because of what happened in the Eagles-Falcons game, though. Of course, that goes into it. And they impressed me more than I ever could have imagined heading into Sunday. But I go around this division. I'm not saying they can beat the Cowboys because I don't know, because while the Cowboys defense still stinks, that offense is electric. So who knows how an Eagles-Cowboys matchup goes down. But I had them probably the 3rd best team in this division. I always thought they were better than the Giants. The Giants stink. Okay? They're in the basement of this division. Daniel Jones with like his 19th turnover or 19th fumble or whatever it was as the Giants quarterback in his first 3 seasons. He's a disaster. Their offensive line is a disaster. They allow Teddy Bridgewater to go up and down the field on them a couple times. Giants stink. Washington, not impressive at home, even before the Fitzpatrick injury. Now they lose Ryan Fitzpatrick for 6 to 8 weeks. Taylor Heineke time. Now I know there's some people that I saw Mark, our buddy Mark.
Me too. I agree with Mark.
See, no, I don't. I'm not a Ryan Fitzpatrick fan, but I'll tell you, I'm damn sure not sold on Taylor damn Heineke right now. Okay, so Washington in trouble. As of right now, I think it's up to the Birds in Dallas. And who knows?
I'm not ready.
La'el Collins out for 5 games now because of some bad news bears over there. Dude, that team amazes me. It's always something.
I like Taylor Heineke.
Why? Why?
Well, first of all, he went to Old Dominion. That's a start. And second, I mean, I hate Ryan Fitzpatrick. So
yeah, I'm not a Fitzpatrick fan.
I shouldn't say that I'm more scared of Taylor Heineke as I am. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is a dumpster fire, and somebody else could do a better job. But like you're mentioning right now, there's a world where I could see the Eagles being the 2nd best team in the division.
But okay, put it this way: even if you like Taylor Heineke more, right, and you just saw how the Eagles played, and you know what the Eagles' schedule is after you get past like week 6 or whatever, how many games do Washington win under Taylor Heineke to win a division?
Well, here's where, and again, this is worst nightmare situation. You lose 5 straight. Dallas wins 4 out of 5.
No, well, yeah.
And then it's like,
well, then you're kind of out of the race at that point.
Kind of pack the bags, but I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, I don't think we lose to Carolina. We'll get in week by week schedule predictions, all that.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of week by week, let's fast forward my last question that goes into this Sunday. We are not breaking down the 49ers game tomorrow. That will be today. That will be tomorrow's show, 5 p.m. right here on DSM Media, the Phaithful Fanatics. Megan will break down the keys to the game, predictions, Jalen Hurts, everything like that. That's going to go into a possible Eagles win at the link, which, by the way, real quick, is going to be different this Sunday. After a full calendar year with no full capacity at the link, after what the travesty that was last year, after what they just did in Atlanta coming back home, the link is going to be absolutely different on Sunday, and it will play a factor in Sunday's game. You can lock that in right now. But again, looking at Sunday's game, now I'm not asking you to give a prediction. Obviously, we will do that tomorrow. But before the season started, the San Fran game seemed like a really, really tough one. Now, San Fran loses Raheem Mostert for the year. Trey Sermon didn't even suit up last week. They're starting Jimmy G instead of Trey Lance. They allowed the Detroit Lions to score 31 on them last week. Do you feel any more confident about week 2 for the Philadelphia Eagles after what you saw on Sunday?
Well, I definitely feel more confident in the Eagles' perspective. And like you just mentioned with the guys that San Fran's now, like Raheem Mostert and Jimmy G starting. But, I mean, I definitely feel more confident heading into week 2. I would have had week 2 chalked up as a loss prior to the season. Now you definitely see some questions, in my opinion, that San Fran is going to look at the tape and say, wow, what did this team just do? So I'm definitely more confident, and I don't see how anyone could not be more confident after Sunday.
I'm with you, dude. Even if you're not more confident as far as a whole season perspective, you have to feel more confident this Sunday at home.
You went into last week with a rookie, or not a rookie quarterback, but basically a rookie quarterback, a rookie head coach.
With a blank sheet of questions is what you had last week.
And now you just
some of those
performance, you have to be like, okay, well, there's something here.
No, I'm with you. I agree, and we'll break down that game tomorrow for you guys right here live on the Phaithful Fanatics show on DSM Media starting at 5 p.m. again. Again, just 2 quick little segments I have here before we wrap up today's show. Around the NFL, some things I took away, just some little notes from this slate of games this weekend. And you can give me your thoughts on some of yours as well. Obviously, the Birds come away with a win, and the other 3 NFC East teams take an L. Your first place Philadelphia Eagles very early in this year. Also, great games this weekend. Again, from the Thursday night opener, obviously we hate Dallas, but that game was awesome from start to finish. To, you had a bunch of good games on Sunday. You had the Chiefs and Browns. Browns up, 9 or 10 at one point in the fourth quarter. Patrick Mahomes launches a deep prayer ball to Tyreek Hill. His prayers answered. They come back and beat the Browns. To the Monday night game that was absolutely obliterated, drunk off its ass last night. I don't think I've ever seen a game end the way it did last night in Las Vegas. The Cardinals thump the Tennessee Titans and Ryan Tannehill. We can talk about that for a second. The Steelers take down the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo after only having like 50 yards of total offense in the first half for Pittsburgh. And lastly, Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer struggle in their debut against the Houston freaking Texans, which they allow 37 points from Tyrod Taylor and company. Anything you want to get into before we almost wrap this up?
Dude, a team I really wanted to mention was Denver. I really liked how Denver looked. Obviously, they just lost Judy, which kind of sucks, but dude, Denver's defense looked lights out. I know the Giants aren't that good. I shouldn't say lights out either, but Giants aren't that good. But, man, two-glove Teddy. That's my boy, I think. I liked him, man.
That division could get a little interesting now. Dude, that division actually is interesting. If those bottom teams have stepped up, their level of play. If Las Vegas is what they were last night, if Denver, as you just mentioned, if Justin Herbert continues to take another step, that division in the AFC West, all 4 teams come away with a win. It's going to be a lot of fun. Reversely, all 4 teams in the NFC West come away with a win. The Seahawks take down Carson and Indy. Russell Wilson looked fantastic. Shout out to Tyler Lockett for being on my fantasy team. Obviously, San Fran takes down Detroit. Like I said, the Cardinals thump the Tennessee Titans, dude. And then we saw the Rams and Matt Stafford's debut on Sunday night take down
Yeah, and we also didn't talk about
Andy Dalton.
Jameis Winston, future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, dude.
Dude. Bro, I don't know if you follow. I don't know if you follow Barstool.
Yeah, I
but
do.
the love Jameis Winston gets at Barstool.
I know, dude. Well, I think they do it because they know what gets a tick out of people.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no, 1,000,000%. But
Yeah.
Jameis did look lights out.
I know. Well, yeah, but they also ran the ball down Green Bay. Oh, that's another thing. You want to talk about Jameis and the Saints? We haven't even talked about Aaron Rodgers and how he looked and his body language on the field for Green Bay. A ton of stuff to go to that. That went on this past week. Which
Turf Talk Thursday.
Yes, there you go. Look at that plug. Tap in Thursday night at 7 p.m. as me and my co-host Scotty here on DSM Media break down Week 1's slate of games, break down the Eagles Falcons game some more for you guys, as me and Gint just did. Get Scotty's perspective on some things and talk about the entire NFL as a whole, and then dive into some Washington football team, New York Giants Thursday night game. Gint, non-Eagles or football related to wrap up the show here. Adam says Birds win 24-21 this week versus San Fran. I love it. A 2-0 start would be amazing heading into Dallas on Monday night. But again, Phillies, in or out?
I'm about as out as it was when I got kicked out of the stadium on Saturday.
Okay. Well, with that being said,
dude, this weekend was brutal, and now Atlanta gets Colorado. It's probably chalk, man. It was a pipe dream.
It's so chalk, dude.
Bryce Harper's still hitting a home run every night, and the season's still chalked.
I feel so bad for him, dude. I feel so bad for him. You keep this fan base sticking around, and they're out, and you suck them back in. They're out, and you pull them back in. They've done it to me all year long, right? And now you get the worst road team in the major leagues in your ballpark, where you're really successful at, for 4 games in the middle of a September pennant run, and you lose 3 of 4 to that team. And in one game, you got your asses whooped.
11-2.
In another game, Ian Kennedy comes in, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bomb, smell yous later, wraps up that ball game.
Not only that, Dylan, bottom of the 9th comes around. You have your catcher you extended for 4 years with a runner on third and 2 outs. He swings at a pitch that would have been high to Taco Fall.
Yep. And that's the last thing that I'll say here before I get too pissed off about them. I love JT Realmuto. Maybe I just love the idea of him now. He's not good enough in the batter's box, dude. And I've kept that to myself because I know how many people love JT in this city. He is not good enough with the bat this year, and it's killed them. And the fact that he's your leadoff guy and he's your cleanup hitter at times. No, JT needs to be in that 5-6 hole for this lineup to be successful. And they're just not, dude. They sit 4.5 out now from the division when they cut it to what? A game and a half, like early last week. Like you said, Atlanta's at home now against Colorado. I promise you Atlanta doesn't lose that series to Colorado. We're at home.
Sweep them.
Yeah.
This is shocked.
We're at home against the Cubs, and I think we're 2.5 out of the wild card, and we have to leapfrog the Reds, Padres, and Cardinals to get that second wild card spot. It's over. It's finished. Good night.
Bye. We're in football season. Baseball season's over.
Smells you later. With that being said, that is going to wrap up today's show of the Phaithful Phanatics. I'm your host, Dylan. You can give me a follow if you want to on Twitter at DylanJD98. My faithful co-host to my right, Matt McGinty. Give him a follow on Twitter at Matt_McGinty. And as always, give us here at DSM Media follow on Twitter at DSM_media. A lot of good shows for the rest of the week. We will be back here live 5 p.m. tomorrow for the Phaithful Fanatics show. At 9 p.m. tomorrow night, Phil Stifle will be live on Trending for 4 quarters. Actually, that's being pre-recorded right now with a special guest that will debut tomorrow night at 9. He will not be live because Phil's lucky ass will be in Cancun, I believe, this week. And then Thursday, Scotty and I, 7 p.m. Turf Talk, and 9 p.m. DFS with Jason Sullivan will be, the host of that game. So for
Okay.
myself, for Gint, for DSM, have a nice night and go Birds.